1,800 jurors. That is incredible. Now, they have changed the jurisdiction here. They moved it from East Idaho to West Idaho. And so I wonder what the odds are of seating a jury that doesn't know anything about this, given that they at least moved it out of that very small community in the Rexburg area.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get jurors who don't know anything about the case because of its high profile nature. This case has, first of all, the Tylee and JJ disappeared in 2019, and there's been a lot of media coverage for the past 3 years. This trial has been delayed due to COVID-19, due to competency concerns. So there's been a lot out there since that happened. Jurors are not going to be expected to have never heard of the case before. The question is, can they be neutral? Can they go in without bias? Some of the fail-safes that are in place here, there are jury questionnaires that every potential juror fills out. Both sides get to look at that in order to identify potential bias. And now they're in the voir dire process, meaning that the prosecution and defense get to ask the individual jurors questions in order to identify those that can sit, be unbiased, and really listen to the evidence and make a determination on that, not what they've heard outside the courtroom.
This trial, Misty, might take 2 months. At least that's what we're thinking. And we're talking about the jury potentially being sequestered because there is a high-profile nature to this case. But, man, that is tough on a lot of people to be sequestered for 2 months and also to listen to some of the evidence that they are going to see. So, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, to your point, that's what we've been hearing in jury selection. There's been a lot of focus on the fact that there's 2 children who were killed in this case. How is that going to be processed by certain jurors? Are they going to be able to come in without bias? Are they going to be able to make a determination when you're talking about the death of a child? There's also the 8 to 10 weeks that's being projected for this trial. Some people are simply going to not be able to be out of work for that long or have other concerns. Several family members said they had sick family members that would preclude them from being at the trial for that length of time. So there's been a whole slew of jurors who have actually been dismissed at this juncture due to the concerns that you just raised, both the sensitive nature of the case as well as this timing concern of an 8 to 10 week trial where someone is sequestered. Really tough jury to seat in this case.
I want to ask why these two are being tried separately. But first, I do want to ask, the death of the children happened at a different time in a different place, as far as we know, from the death of Tammy Daybell. Why are both of those, or all 3 of those deaths, being thrown into the same case?
So the judge made a determination that these would all be in the same case because the allegations are not just about the murder of those 3 victims. It's also a conspiracy, meaning that Chad and Lori conspired to kill all 3 victims. And that's why you see it comes from the same nucleus of facts. We expect the legal theory here to be that they're part of this doomsday cult. There might be slightly different theories for the children and the wife. However, it all comes down to that they're in this doomsday cult, and because that serves as the basis for the motive for the death of all 3. So that's why we see that. Now, as far as the separation of the trials, Chad Daybell actually sought the trials to be done separately, and that's a strategic legal move. Listen to this. So his trial is going to go on after Lori. He's going to have the opportunity and the benefit of seeing how her trial goes, seeing the evidence that's presented before he steps into the courtroom. Very, very good legal maneuvering by his defense team.
And we had a guest on. It was a different guest on a different show, and she said, Lori Vallow Daybell just has to be quiet here. She shouldn't be saying anything. So I said, well, that kind of makes it moot that she will be on the stand in her own defense. But is it possible, because they're being tried separately, that Chad Daybell could take the stand to testify against his wife, even though I know that there is a privilege between spouses that he doesn't have to testify? But could he be called, and might he do that?
I actually think that's part of his strategy. And he might not make that decision until he sees the way her trial plays out. But there's the possibility that he could enter into what's called a prosecution agreement. And that prosecution agreement could take the death penalty off the table. It could potentially lighten the sentence in exchange for his testimony against her. I'm wondering if that's all part of the strategy moving forward, especially since his trial is going to take place after her trial. So that could certainly be part of it.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.